On this episode of the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino, we recap OU's win over TCU in the National College Football Roundup. We recap the other big games in week 7 of college football, including Oklahoma State's big win over Texas. And we finish up by giving you our winners and losers of the weekend. Please download and subscribe to the podcast, rate it 5 stars, and write us a good review. Follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Just search Oklahoma Breakdown on any of those, and you'll find us. All right. Our man, Michael Hosty, will kick this thing off. It's time for the Oklahoma Breakdown. It's a beautiful Monday, October 18th, and you're listening to the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind is Oklahoma City's premier casino experience, and your health and safety are Riverwind's #1 priorities. There are so many reasons why Riverwind is consistently voted OKC's #1 casino, but it all starts with their amazing variety of gaming thrills and excitement. Riverwind's beautiful award-winning environment plays host to more than 2,800 of the latest electronic games with a huge selection of table games, including blackjack, blackjack match, roulette, and Teddy's favorite, craps. No matter what your game, Riverwind has it in spades and hearts. And Fridays in October from 6 p.m. to midnight, you can win your share of $80,000 in cash and bonus play and Riverwind's $80,000 Monster Mansion of Money promotion. Drawings are every 30 minutes. If you need help finding your way, just visit riverwind.com. Riverwind Casino, simply the one. Now, we're recording this on Sunday night. Leave us a 5-star review and a nice comment. Ted, the night games are tough on us. I'm getting too old.
Yes, they are. It's nice. It's nice to be able to get up, get the game done, and then have a piece of Saturday. The night games it's cool. The atmospheres are great, but it makes for a long night. And I'm with you, but you know what? I'm willing to sacrifice. It's something I'm willing to sacrifice my schedule and my weekend for more night games. I'm down for that.
I like it. Yeah, give me all the night games. I'm just being old, but man, you get home and you're still a little wired from the game. You're like, all of a sudden you look up, it's 1 a.m. You're like, what am I doing? Why am I still awake? Okay, before we get going on the recap, I did want to say happy 32nd birthday to Matt. Our man, the Rick Tavius on YouTube said, hey, you need to give I would appreciate a birthday shout out for my friend Matt. He turns 32 on Monday. And thanks to a long battle with COVID, it's a legitimate miracle he's still here to see it. He's been in the hospital since early August.
Whoa.
So Matt, keep fighting, man. We appreciate you listening.
Birthday. Dang.
Happy birthday, buddy. Keep going. You're doing great. Easy transition to OU-TCU. So, Ted, I was thinking that we'd start with the positive. How's that sound? Spot like, you know, people, I think a lot of people listen to this on Monday morning. They want something positive in their lives to start the week.
Yes, let's go. I love that.
So we're going to start on the offensive side of things, if you don't mind. So
love it.
I do want to say this before we get into Caleb Williams and how amazing he was. You have to appreciate how well OU executed when it came to situational football in this game. And I know that's something that is boring, but I can't stress enough how much coaches emphasize, hey, let's get off to a fast start. Hey, we've got our first 10 or first 15. Let's get off to a fast start. And that's exactly what they did. First drive of the game, you come out, you get Caleb Williams some easy throws, you're mixing run and pass, you execute, you go right down the field and you score. That's exactly what you want. That's situational football. Starting the game, executing the game plan, executing things you know that are going to make them struggle defensively. But then you also had a couple other situations in this game. 2-minute drill before the half, right? Caleb Williams, freshman quarterback, handles it beautifully, go right down the field, score a touchdown, right? Throws a beautiful back shoulder ball to Hazelwood, a throw that they didn't connect on last week. They connect on it this week. So that's another situation. And then the sexiest situation of all, Ted, and I do mean sexy. I'm not using the wrong word. Not only was it 4-minute offense, Ted, it was 6-minute offense.
Yeah.
That is something you practice. That is a situation you practice. It's called 4-minute offense, but they go on nearly a 6-minute drive, 9 runs. And like 7 of them were the exact same play, just out of a little different look. And some of them were the exact same play. But just those 3 situations, like, that's good offensive football. That's good situational execution. That's what it looks like. And they've been missing some of that lately. They've been missing a lot of that this season. It was good to see it. And I know TCU's defense, not what we're used to seeing from the Horned Frogs, but still, Ted, that's it right there, executing what you practice.
Yeah. Well, we have been harping all season on the details, right? Being a detail-oriented football team, individually, as a unit, offensively and defensively, special teams, and that's what situational football is. Whenever you really break it down, everything is a situation, and you get cues on how to perform based on the situation. What's the time in the game? 2-minute, 4-minute. Where are we at on the field? Red zone, coming out. What's the down and distance? So what are we going to get? What's the clock? Do I need to stay in whenever I run this and I end up on the sideline? Do I need to get out of bounds? Is it okay to take a sack here, or do I absolutely need to get rid of the football? I mean, everything is situational and it's always changing. And when you have 11 guys that are all tied in as to what is going to happen and what you need to do before the snap, that's whenever you start playing really good football. And it looks like you're starting to get there offensively. I like it.
So the freshman's pretty good. Guy wearing 13 is he's really good. Now, just let's nitpick a little bit. He wasn't perfect. It can be better. A few underthrows, right? The one to Mike Woods, the one to Marvin Mims, those probably are both touchdowns if he doesn't underthrow them. He's still a little late on some reads. He's squeezing that ball a little too long, Ted, but still, some of them he's late on. He's able to make up with it because he has an absolute rocket attached to his right arm. But and this is something that I know that people don't really care about, but I'm going to talk about it anyways. Some of his drops are too deep. It's like the first sack. Everyone is getting after Tyrese Robinson, getting his Twitter mentions. Why are you so bad? Blah, blah, blah. No, he's at 10.5 yards in his drop. You can't do that. That's too deep. As Joe Thomas once told Deshaun Kaiser in a Cleveland Browns offensive line meeting room, you do that, you're on your own, you're dead to me. So those are little detailed things that can improve, right? He can't get that deep in his drop. But if those are our only complaints, we're in pretty good shape, man. Because you look at the numbers, 18 and 23, 295, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, the talent is just ridiculous, Ted. He does, and I know a lot of people compare everyone that makes good throws to Mahomes. I very rarely do that because I think Patrick Mahomes is incredible on the football field at the quarterback position. He does something similar off platform, and the arm strength he has from weird angles and his ability to get creative with arm angles and stuff like that. Like, he does some Mahomes-like things throwing the football. I mean, that touchdown throw to Jeremiah Hall, he's late on it. He squeezes it, but he just puts it on a rope. I mean, he's got elite arm talent, Ted, and you look at Hazelwood's 3 touchdowns. I mean, one of them was just an awesome play design by Lincoln, right? They're faking like they're doing QB run. The guy they slipped their blocks. He could have thrown it to Drake Stoops for a touchdown if he wanted, but he chose Hazelwood. But the other 2 pinpoint accurate throws from Caleb Williams. I mean, what a debut throwing the football from that kid.
I'll tell you what is most impressive. And obviously all the things that we can all see, the arm strength, the accuracy, the ability to step out of tackles in the backfield and create explosive plays. Obviously, when he gets in the open field running, we can all see that. Those things are obvious. But what I find the most fascinating is he's a true freshman, right? We have to remember he's a true freshman. Not only is he a true freshman, this was the 6th game or 7th game of the season. This was the 7th game of the season, and it was his first start. He is not starting against teams that are just trying to figure things out and get things together, who are playing inexperienced guys themselves, right? That have new starters out there themselves that are trying to figure stuff out. He's stepping in and starting with no experience as a true freshman against teams that are battle tested 7 games deep into a season. That's a totally different world, than starting on the same kind of level playing field as everyone else on game 1 and gaining experience with everyone else through college football at the same time. No, he's stepping in with his first start at this moment and really performing flawlessly. To the untrained eye, if you just came in and no one knew who each guy was or what football team he was on, he looks like an upperclassman, Heisman Trophy favorite, number 1 draft pick type of guy that everyone in the country is talking about. And it's his first start this deep into a season. I've never seen anything like that. I've never heard of anything like that. It's unbelievable.
It's rather impressive. Now, I was kind of saying, hey, we've only seen 3 quarters of this kid play, of him playing in the Texas game. Like, hey, he's going to probably play the entire game. In this one, let's see what it looks like. The kid's special. I mean, anyone with eyes can see that. Right now, is he going to make some mistakes down the stretch here? Yeah, there's no doubt. But
maybe
I mean, maybe he doesn't. I mean, maybe he's that special. But I think he's going to make more spectacular plays than awful ones. Right? I mean, he's just, whatever it is, the kid's got it. And I know a lot of people look at the running ability and they look at the explosive runs, right? And that's only natural, right? The fake pitch on the option. What was that, R1 or R2 on NCAA football? I can't remember. Was it R2?
I think R2 was the pitch.
So was fake pitch R1? Wrong?
Did you hold the other one down? Like,
was it L1?
I think you held L1 or L2 down and then hit R1 or R2 to actually pitch it. I don't know. I can't remember.
Bring back NCAA football, you cowards. But so obviously you see that play and you're like, wow. I mean, look at the explosive run. And then the long touchdown run on the zone read was awesome. How he saw the corner, I don't know. Guy's got eyes in the side of his head, but makes a miss, takes it to the house. It's an awesome play. But the things that stand out to me, right, those are great plays. I'm not trying to make them sound like they're not. But, and I wrote it down. And I was on the sideline. I wrote it down. It was because a lot of people look at that long touchdown run. They're like, that's amazing. Well, that play doesn't happen if on 3rd and 3 earlier that drive, they run the QB split zone play. There's an unblocked linebacker right in the hole. He makes a miss. It's only a gain of like 4. He falls forward and moves the chains. Like, the big explosive runs are great. But those runs on 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4 are the first down where you're staying ahead of the chains and he's getting nice gains. Like, those are so big in a game. So it's not just the big explosive long runs. I know those are the ones that get everybody going, but I'm seeing the one on 3rd and 3 going, oh yeah, that's the stuff. Like, and it wasn't easy. So I'm not sure I could be more impressed than I was with the way that kid played.
I agree.
I mean, prime time, ABC, first start, really weird build up, lead up to the game throughout the week. And it was like, it didn't phase him at all.
No. And, we've all seen players get a ton of hype, have a couple of really nice games, and then kind of flame out. So you do have to kind of ease into things a little bit just to see, well, can he handle the different situation, and instead of just coming in whenever you're behind, and can he play situational football? And so far everything looks great. Now, my biggest complaint with Rattler all season was I didn't really ever get the feeling that he was making the other players around him better. Right? That's what you ultimately have to do as a quarterback, is make everyone around you better. Yes, you may not be getting perfect protection, but are you making those guys better by, stepping up or escaping at the right time, or, getting deeper, or, getting the ball out a little bit quicker? Wide receivers, are you making them better by putting the ball in the right spot so they can continue to get yards after catch? All of those different things. Are you building guys up on the sideline? Are you the leader out on the field that you need to be, in getting in the right play and setting the right checks and all of those different things? And just didn't have that feeling with Rattler and with Caleb Williams, because of a lot of the ability that he has just naturally without ever even saying anything. He's making the guys better by throwing it deep, by putting the ball down there and testing it, even whenever maybe there's good coverage, by, beating an unblocked guy and moving the chains. All of those things is making the guys around him better, and in turn makes the offense better.
Now he made a lot of big plays in the game, right? With his arm and with his legs. There's no doubt that this was my favorite moment of the night from Caleb Williams. So I'm down on the sideline, right? I spent a lot of time over there by the offensive line bench. And they go on that final drive. They run the ball every single play on the drive. They almost take 6 minutes off the clock. And Caleb Williams comes over there, and it's the happiest he's been all night. He didn't throw a pass. He didn't run the ball. He just handed it off, and he came over there, and he just looked at all the O-linemen, and he said, 6 minutes, 6 minutes, all run, 6 minutes. And the kid's just got a leadership quality to him, man. It was the most fired up I saw him all night. And it was for those guys that they just went on that type of drive. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. I still say, though, to the leadership stuff, and he's doing all the right things, saying all the right things, but you don't find anything out about a leader until things are bad, until it's not good, until it's ugly, until he's played bad and others have played bad, and you found yourself in a really bad situation, maybe after a loss, maybe in game. Whatever. That's whenever you find out the most about your leaders. So everything that I've seen from him so far, it's good. It's fantastic. Right where he should be. But it's easy to have fun when you're playing well, right? And it looks like he's having a ton of fun out there. So I love that. But I'm also interested to see how he handles himself whenever things go ugly, because they will eventually. I don't know when, but it'll get that way at some point. We'll see what type of resolve he has then.
Yep. There's no doubt. So we've given the young man a lot of praise. He now has the 6th best odds to win the Heisman Trophy at 20-1. Just checked it. Only Matt Corral, Bryce Young, Bijan, Kenneth Walker III from Michigan State and Desmond Ridder, the QB at Cincinnati, have better odds to win the Heisman than Caleb Williams?
It's the year to do it.
Is it possible?
Yeah, sure. I mean, unlikely, but if Bryce Young loses another game, it's going to be difficult for people to vote him as the Heisman, considering the standard at Alabama. I mean, can you lose 2 games and be a Heisman winner at Alabama? That'd be strange. Corral, he's having a heck of a year statistically, but I mean,
they're going to lose.
Yeah, if it's going to be hard if you're not even making the conference championship game in your own conference to be the Heisman Trophy winner. Bijan, I think Bijan's good, but I think it's difficult on a team we got 3 losses now. I honestly, I think he's got a shot. I don't know how much of a shot. I don't know how people would vote for it, but I know this. People love a story, and it's a crazy story. It's a hell of a story, and that usually means quite a bit. Now, I know being a true freshman has, been a tough thing to overcome for a lot of voters, but if there was ever a year it could happen, I'd say it would be right now.
You and I, we watch a lot of college football. It's what we do on Saturdays. We watch a lot on Sundays. I don't think I've seen a better quarterback in college football this year.
From the limited amount that I've seen from him, I don't know that there's a quarterback somewhere where I'm saying Caleb Williams cannot do that, cannot make that play, cannot make that throw. I have not seen that. But again, it's a very small sample size.
Right. And yeah, I mean, he's going to struggle at some point. Like, it's going to happen. But you also, in a weird way, I was actually talking to 2 guys that have Heisman votes Sunday morning, and I brought this up to him, and I think I kind of piqued their interest because it's almost like what happened offensively for Oklahoma. Now, remember, they look good offensively against K-State, but the first 5 games and a quarter of the Texas game, right? The way that OU played offense, when you look at that as a whole, it almost even helps Caleb Williams' Heisman case even more if they continue to go out there and put 50 points on the board and things like that.
Yeah, look, you can look very plainly and see, look how much the difference is whenever he's out there and whenever he's not. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, would people be okay with voting a guy in at the end of the year that's got, what will he have, 6 starts at the time, when everyone else will have most likely 13? I mean, that's what I don't know if voters will be able to overcome. I don't know how that would go down with voters. I honestly, I have no idea. But as far as, can he be the best player in college football by that point? Yeah, I think we could easily say that he's the best player in college football.
Nice. Okay, skill guys. Let's keep the positivity going. We're on a roll. Jaden Hazelwood scored 3 touchdowns. And this is a guy that has been doing the dirty work as a blocker. And this was something Lincoln told us after the game. Jaden Hazelwood actually talked to the team on Friday night about how he was fine, blocking 60 plays a game and wasn't worried about stats as long as they kept winning games. And would you look at that? You put that selfless attitude out there, you put that good energy into the world, Ted, and you get rewarded with 3 touchdowns. And the back shoulder, that was a nice catch. That was a great throw by Williams, but also, the RPO. Doesn't matter that Chris Murray and Andrew Rain were both 7 yards down the field. I don't want to hear it, Ted. I don't want to hear it. It was a good ball, but it was good seeing Hazelwood have a night like that, because they're going to need this guy to make big plays the rest of the season.
Yeah. No, I think he's got great ability. He brings something a little bit different to the table than some of the other guys. He's a big physical guy. it's nice to have that. Mims is, a smaller speedster type. Woods feels like your possession type of guy. All of them obviously capable of a lot of different things, but we've got a really nice, diverse receiving group that I think works really well together.
Yeah, hopefully, Mario Williams didn't finish that game, had the hammy issue. Hopefully that's nothing major. Hopefully we see him back out there next week, but we'll see. You mentioned Mike Woods. Man, he can shoot. He continues to show some flashes of being a dude. Now, he probably wishes he had that deep ball back, right? That's one he should have caught.
What
but
a ball.
It seems like they're starting to scheme some more things for him, and he's more explosive than I thought he was. He's doing some good things for him. And then Marvin Mims, it's got to be frustrating when you beat guys and they decide that they're not going to let you score touchdowns. They're just going to tackle you. That's a sign of respect, but it's got to be so frustrating for him.
Yeah, it is frustrating. And, here's one thing that we'll say. Well, you mentioned this earlier, but just to build on it. He had a couple of different pass interference calls on him. When do pass interference calls come on deep balls? They usually come when the ball is underthrown, right? A receiver's got a step or two on a DB. That DB is running full speed. The receiver has to stop, slow down, and wait on the ball. The DB catches up and runs into him. Out comes the flag, which is a good result. A better result is whenever he's got 2 or 3 steps on the guy, the ball comes out quick, early, he catches it in stride, and off you go to the races. So I do like that we're putting it down there and he's able to draw those big penalties because they're crucial. But in college football, it's not nearly the penalty that it is in the NFL. And, game speed deep balls are way different than practice deep balls. And I think that it's just going to take a little bit of time for Caleb Williams to get caught up on the speed on some of those deep routes.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. All right, let's get to everyone's favorite section of the podcast, offensive line talk, baby. And I know TCU's defensive line, I mean, not great, right? Not a very productive group with what we've seen from them this season. So I get it, but there is no doubt that this was OU's offensive line's best game of the season, collectively. No doubt. Communication was really good. Physicality was really good. We already talked about the last drive. That's basically offensive line pornography, if we're being honest. So a lot of good things. I do want to start with Tyrese Robinson. He did play his worst game of the year. There's no doubt. But there's a reason. Don't be surprised that he didn't play well. He did practice all week. He was in a boot all week and said, hey, game day, I'm going. So I appreciate the toughness and the leadership that Tyrese has brought to that room. He went out there and battled. Yeah, he got beat some. There's no doubt about it, which he got beat in ways he's not. He hadn't been beat all season, and it was because he couldn't move around very well on that ankle. So, I mean, it is what it is. I respect the hell out of him for playing the whole first half, but, man, he was hurting. So they made the switch. And so anyone that has been putting the Tyrese Robinson slander out there, he's been their best offensive lineman, and he was out there battling his ass off for his team. So maybe, chill just a little bit. But once he realized and once the training staff realized that, he couldn't go anymore, they made the switch to Swinson. And Ted, it was a rough night for the Swinson haters.
Yeah.
He comes in, plays the entire second half.
And that's not easy to do. Everyone else has kind of settled in, and you've got to come in and kind of pick up where the last guy left off and try and get up to speed with the flow of the game and what you're seeing. And you do a lot of that by staying locked in over on the sideline whenever you're not in, huddling around the coach whenever he's given the corrections and what's going on out there and how to fix it and how to block stuff. So not easy to do. And yeah, I just from watching the little bit that I did, I leave most of that up to you and your expertise, but I thought he did some really good stuff. I mean, I know several times when Caleb was sitting back there in the pocket, he had a guy just totally locked out pretty good.
Yeah. I think he played around 30 plays or so, and I've got him down with like 5 minuses. Pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a winning grade for sure, and especially kind of in relief duty. But he just plays strong, man. He plays with good strength. And when he's healthy, I'm starting to think that he is one of the best 5 linemen on this team. So I'm wondering at some point, like, do you open up the competition for the right guard spot between him and Chris Murray? Because if you're going to get a healthy version of Swinson, like, he's got more length, he's heavier, he's stronger. So I don't know, but we'll see how long it takes Tyrese Robinson to get back to, I don't know if he'll be 100% with the ankle, right? It's an ankle. It lingers and lingers, but I would not be surprised if Swinson is your starting right tackle this week as well, and they try to give Tyrese a little more time to heal up. But Eric Swinson playing some good ball, which is good. Andrew Raym, without a doubt, the best game he has played as an Oklahoma Sooner. Way less panic in his footwork. And what I mean by that is a lot of times you'll see linemen and you can almost see them thinking in their feet. It's weird. Like fast, quick, choppy feet, not heavy feet, but light, choppy, like, okay, where am I going? What am I doing? Where am I going? That slowed down a lot for him. And so he slowed down a little bit. He played with a lot more power through the ground. So you want fast feet, but really you want forceful feet as an offensive lineman. And he played with a lot more force in his feet in this game. If you guys want to get into a physics conversation about generating power through the ground, we can talk about it. It's a lot of fun. If anyone wants to go down that road, just DM me. But he has become a lot more vocal out on the field. You can just see it in the way he's directing traffic. And it's obviously easier when you're playing at home, but he still needs to grab guys more. I want him to hold people. I do not want him to push and press people. I want him to grab and hold people. I want guys to flail and be like, let me go. That is the next step in his progression, because Ted, you can get away with a lot in the interior of the offensive line. And I would like to see him cheat more. That is what I would like to see. But as far as what we've seen these last couple games, very encouraging stuff from the center. And that's good. That they needed that, because that had been the biggest concern along the offensive line.
Yeah. Well, cheating comes with experience, right? You've got to know when, you've got to kind of know your personnel, know who you're playing against some, and get a feel for them, what you need to do, what you can get away with, what you won't be able to get away with. Know your guards and whenever you'll be able to hold a little bit better with maybe when you're getting the help or whatever's going on there. And you also, I'm guessing, some of that stuff you learn with a bit of a cushion, right? You're up 17 points or 21 points. A holding call is not going to be the end of the world. Right now, like the last previous however many games, a holding call is going to totally derail the entire drive for our offense. We couldn't push through stuff like that. So now you're starting to get a little bit more going offensively. You're coming into a part of the schedule maybe where you'll be playing with some big leads. That may be the time to start tinkering with some of that. What can I get away with?
Work on your cheating, Raym. Get better at it. Marquise Hayes, we talked about how well he played against Texas, how he was looking more like himself, and it continued into this game. Played well. And I think with the way I graded it, it's his best game of the year for me. He was finishing guys into the ground. He was playing a lot more strong at the point of attack. Most importantly for Marquise, I think he's got his confidence back. I think his confidence had taken a hit a little bit. He'd been playing some tentative ball, just hadn't been playing like himself. But I'm starting to see a lot of shades of the guy we're used to seeing wear 54 for them. So that's big. That's big for them, and it was good to see. Chris Murray, another solid performance. Not his best, but still good. Maybe I'm getting a little nitpicky with Chris because of how consistent he has been this year. Got himself in some trouble, lunging a little too much in pass pro, putting his head into it, really trying to strike and stun guys in pass protection. And you don't always have to do that, right? It's nice to do that, but that's not real life, right? But so he got himself in some bad situations doing that. He's still putting his eyes where he knows they don't need to be. Like he knows what he's doing, and for whatever reason, he'll subtly turn his head or peek away from his assignment. And just that split second can be costly for him, but still playing some good ball. He really is. And then there's Anton Harrison, Ted. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, but he played well. I said it. Anton Harrison played well. By far his best game of the season. One thing that stood out to me, he anchored a lot better in pass protection. And I'm wondering if he was dealing with that knee coming into the year. I'm wondering if he's just starting to feel a little better physically. I know he got the shoulder banged up in the game, but he was able to go right back in, finish things up. But it does look like his lower half, like he's either getting stronger or he's feeling better, one or the other. But his anchor and protection was much better. He came off the ball with some more velocity, but even when he doesn't just come roaring off the ball, especially in some of their zone concepts, but he had a lot more violence with his hands, just kind of like assaulting guys. And that's what you want from your left tackle. And he did a lot of that in the run game. He's got to work on his pad level. He's got to work on his bend in the run game, but man, some solid stuff on tape from OU's left tackle. There's hope for the youngster, Ted. Hope.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad that a lot of these guys are starting to hit their stride at the right time of the year. And that's been a hallmark of some really good offensive lines that we've had around here, is that around the middle of October, late October, really start to play some good football. And by the end of the season, just really dominating some folks.
Yeah, that's definitely the plan to keep that rolling. And one fun miscellaneous stat, and this came from our buddy Tom Fornelli. OU on first down, they were excellent. 32 first down plays. They averaged 10.3 yards per play on first down.
That makes it really difficult to play defense whenever you're not getting any stops at all on first down. That's it. If you can't do well on first down, it's going to be a long day.
I don't think Caleb Williams threw an incompletion on third down either.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, on first down. So,
well, it took him a long time period to throw an incompletion at all.
That's true. That's a good point. Okay. We have unloaded the clip of positivity. And now we'll get to the defense. But first, the only place to stop when you're road tripping is Love's Travel Stops. Love's has over 560 locations in 41 states, offering 24-hour access to clean and safe places. Congrats to Zaximus. Thanks for the beautiful picture of you and your family. You guys are the winners of this week's $25 game day gift card from Love's. Whatever your road trip needs are, Love's has it. Fuel, fresh fruit, all the snacks and drinks, including my favorite Java Amore. That coffee is fantastic. Love's also has you covered if you forget your phone charger or headphones. They've expanded their mobile to go zone so you can grab any of that stuff there. Make sure you download the Love's Connect app for exclusive offers from today's most popular brands. The Love's Connect app also includes a route planner and store locator. When you see the red neon heart on the highway, stop in and say hi at Love's Travel Stops. For a full list of what Love's has to offer, visit loves.com. And don't forget to bank at First Fidelity Bank. First Fidelity Bank is a full-service financial institution based in Oklahoma with tailored solutions for all your personal and business needs. Checking accounts, saving accounts, home loans, and much more. They do it all. Whether it's online banking from your computer or mobile banking from your phone, everything is stress-free with FFB. Making mobile deposits, paying bills online, and moving money to different accounts could not be easier. First Fidelity Bank also provides free ATMs worldwide, making banking convenient wherever you are. They also give back to the community. FFB donates a total of more than $500,000 to local charities and educational foundations. Make your life easier and go bank at First Fidelity Bank. Visit ffb.com for more information. The defense is maybe the best question. How bad is it? Is it bad? It seemed not great. Just talking to, so I talked to Deshaun White, Pat Fields, and Grinch in the post-game interviews, and I would say everyone seemed pissed and disappointed. And Grinch even said, I believe the quote was that they are running out of time when it comes to showing that they can play good defense. So how bad we talking here, Ted?
First off, there's a couple of things that you have to note. We're playing without who I believe is our best safety in Turner Yell. We're playing without what most people would say was the best corner in Woody Washington. And we're also playing without a good starter defensive lineman in Jalen Redmond. Now, we've hidden that fact well and played well without those guys at times, but most teams around the country can't lose 3 starters and continue the level of play that they want to play at. But I don't, that's not an excuse, because we've got good, capable guys that are capable of more. I would say that, and I know the plays that draw a lot of attention are obviously the big explosive plays, and we'll get to that. But the biggest problem for me is tackling. We miss way too many tackles. We have way too many tackles that we get drugged for 4 or 5 yards. Too many tackles or opportunities for tackles where we have guys that are in really good position and totally get out of position, and it creates a big play. And it doesn't ever really look like a missed tackle sometimes because they never really come in contact with the ball carrier, but it's players that are losing leverage on the ball carrier, and it cuts a lot of the other defense off, and turns into big time yards. We've got to get better as a tackling football team, and that is at all levels: defensive line, linebacker, secondary. We have to get better tackling. If we don't, well, we're going to continue to be frustrated by down and distances where we can't force quarterbacks into predictable situations. It's the whole goal on defense. Make them predictable. When you make them predictable, your chances of winning and getting off the field or getting turnovers go up exponentially. If they're in 2nd and 4 and 3rd and 2 all night, they're not very predictable. And when they're not very predictable, it's going to be really hard to get stops and get takeaways. So you've got to be better at tackling. It's all those yards that you may not think matter, but the difference between 2 or 3 or 4 yards when it comes to down and distance is massive. And that is the biggest glaring problem right now, is tackling. That's why, whenever I was complaining last week about capping off, there's a bunch of lost yardage there. And whenever everyone's flying to the football in position with the proper leverage, you get guys that tackle physically, and it's gang tackling, and no one gets extra yards on you. Got to get better.
Tackling. It sounds so simple, but it's not. And that is now I do want to give Kendre Miller some credit, right? That's a big athletic dude. He's a better back than I thought he was. Right? I thought that I told you this during commercial break of the broadcast. I was bummed that Zach Evans wasn't playing. I was like, oh, we don't get to see the stud.
We want
right?
to beat people at their best.
Yeah, and you want to do that as well. And Kendre Miller looked pretty damn good, or OU's defense made him look pretty damn good. Maybe it was a little bit of both, but he was dragging guys, he was running through guys, making guys miss. Like, it was an impressive performance by 33. Like, I do want to give him some credit.
Yeah. No, they had some guys that play. He's a really good physical runner that did some really good things. Duggan is a good quarterback who's athletic and can do some great things with his legs. Quentin Johnston, number 1, is a fantastic wide receiver. I think he's the best receiver in the conference. But we still got to make those plays, right? And there's still a lot of things that we can do to help ourselves to where, whenever a guy is running through tackles like Miller was, it's usually because guys are out of position and lunging and in a bad position trying to make a tackle on him. Like when you have 2 guys that are in the spot that they're supposed to be and they're squaring him up, well, he's not usually running through those guys. I think a good example is the first touchdown, the screen pass that they threw that went for a long touchdown.
3-man rush.
A screen is a run, okay? A screen is a run. And what I mean by that is whenever offensive linemen get out to the next level, you have to fit on those guys accordingly. You can't just go flying out of position, crossing people's face, trying to get to the ball carrier, because you're cutting the rest of your team off. If you have 3 linemen that are out blocking, right? The flat player has to come out and get outside of the first blocker. The hook player has to come get in between the first and the second blocker. The backside hook player has to come all the way across this guy's face and get into this gap. If you don't fill the proper gaps, it just blows wide open and people are off and running. And that's exactly what happened. We've got guys that are just running to the football, pursuing, but losing their angle and not being in the right position whenever it comes to guys being out on the next level. And, you can call that a fit, you can call that technique or responsibility, assignment, whatever you want. I call it tackling because it puts us in a bad position to make that play, and we're cutting our other teammates off to where they've got to now try and make up for it. It just turns into a bad situation for everyone, as it did in that play.
Okay, I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Bowman, a bit of a baptism by fire, right? Playing true corner for the first time this season. He had been the starting nickel, had done some really good things at that position. He draws Quentin Johnston on several plays in that game. He gives up some big plays. He's in pretty solid position, but Johnston's good, man. He's a talented dude. Any concern that affects his confidence in any way, like from a negative standpoint? Or is it one of those like, hey, corners are all wired to, be a goldfish? If you watch Ted Lasso, forget things quickly. Or is that any concern when a young player, right? Because now Joshua Eaton was the one that, got SportsCenter. He's the one that got dun-dun-dun. But it was not, I assume that has never happened to Billy Bowman in his life, a game like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, he's never played corner in D1 college football. And the first time that he does, he's playing against who I think is the best receiver in the Big 12. That is tough, but that says a lot about him. It's bad that we're in a position that where they're like moving our nickel out to play corner, right? That kind of tells you what's happening at the corner position right now. But I thought for the most part, he was in a good spot. He was in good position. He just got beat. And, that stuff's going to happen. We have to remember, and I know that we are viewing this as we look at this as a one season march to a championship. And I get that. I do too. But we also have to remember that Billy Bowman is a true freshman who started the first game of the year at nickel. And he's had some injuries too that he's fought through, but a true freshman at nickel is rare. And then asking him mid-season to move to a new position against a guy like that, I know it sounds like I'm sitting here making up excuses for the kid, but I think he's going to be just fine. Now, it would be great to get Woody Washington back and get our other corners back and playing well. But, that's unfortunately he's at the spot where he's got to kind of learn that on the fly right now. You don't get that look in practice. You just don't, especially whenever training camp is gone. Like you may get that in training camp against our offense, but right now, 7 weeks into the season, you just can't recreate that. I mean, that's something you've got to go out and learn in live bullets. So I think he's a confident kid that's going to bounce back just fine. It was tough. He's probably looking at it as I'm in good position. I just got to be able to turn and locate the ball. But I mean, it's worrisome going forward because we're working on several weeks now of giving up deep balls. And Gabe, as soon as you start giving stuff up, guess what's going to be coming, right? People are going to be throwing deep on you nonstop until you prove you can stop it. Frankly, I'm shocked TCU didn't do it way more and way earlier in the game.
No, I'm with you. And also doesn't help. DJ Graham goes out with, I think it's safe to assume a concussion. We'll see what his availability is this week. Once again, it's Kansas, so maybe you don't need to rush guys back. But once again, another starter. Don't know if he's going to be playing. Also, it doesn't sound like Woody Washington's going to be back anytime soon.
I know. Yeah.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
So I will say this. We came into the season, we've talked about him a lot. Like this D-line was supposed to just be, world beaters, right? I just don't see it right now, man. I don't see the production. I see a lot of guys moving around quickly and not making many plays. And I've complained about this in the past, Ted. I complained about it. I send you the depth chart every year when it comes out, and I say, what's the first thing I say about the D-line? They are too light. And TCU's O-line was heavy. And I think that's why you didn't it's hard for light guys to move heavy guys. It's just physics, man. I mean, it's just force. They have more mass. And you saw TCU's guys, if they got their hands on them in pass rush, it was like shackles for a lot of the game. Yeah. It's just because, we give a guy like Isaiah Thomas a ton of credit for, being as versatile he is, but dude, I'm telling you, that guy doesn't belong on the interior of the defensive line. You look up and you see that guy, you're running zone, you're going, oh, hell yeah. Do all your moving around. Which 320-pounder do you want to run into?
Well, and that's one of the things too, is whenever you move and you're going lateral and an offensive line is going vertical, you got no power whenever you're going lateral. You don't. And I also think that because of a lot of our movement, our defensive linemen get way too high. Whenever you do a move and you move inside and someone's got you a little off balance or whatever, our guys tend to be standing way up too high, straight up and down. One of the other things about some of the deep ball stuff is you naturally think, well, if they're throwing it deep, the offensive line has to protect longer. It's really the opposite. They're throwing it deep. I mean, it's almost like a 3-step drop in shotgun. He catches it. He gets a little bit of depth, one little hop, and he's ripping it down the field. he's not waiting for a clear out and then a dig to find his way over the football and to wait for the zone to move and try and hit a hole on the inside. He's catching it, little hop, and he's ripping it down the sideline. So it's hard to get to a quarterback that way. So once you start giving up those deep balls, it gets way more difficult to rush the passer. So yeah, I mean, I agree. I movement with the defensive line is helpful, especially whenever you play when you're trying to stop the run with a light box. There's good ways using games to force a ball to one side and to help your numbers a little bit whenever they've got you in the run game. But there's a lot of times where it muddies it up way too much. It gives your defensive line no punch, no ability to hold point, hold doubles, and you end up getting tons of wash and blown off the football because everyone ends up going lateral.
So there's a saying that my offensive line coach in Buffalo, Aaron Cromer, used to use, and it was take them farther than they want to go. That's a lot of what TCU is doing. Mm-hmm. Right? Hey, we're going to let you go. You're going to go laterally, right? We're going to use all your momentum against you and just shove you that way. And guess what? We'll let our athletes be athletes. We'll let everything develop, and they'll hit holes. I watched every play of the game, and now that you said something about like taking on double teams, like I watched TCU's guys like dropping the hip, turning, anchoring, trying to take on double teams, making it difficult. And I don't know if I saw that one time from OU's defensive line. Like they don't do that. They don't do some of the things that makes life miserable for an offensive lineman. Like some of the things where like an offensive line really has to strain and that it has to exert energy and it wears you down as an offensive lineman. Like at times, and way too often, in my opinion, they make it easy on offensive linemen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think there's a time and place for it. It's one of those things where personally, I think we do a little bit too much of it, but that's the system. That's what they do. And at times we do have a lot of success with it, but everyone's also a little bit deeper into the season where they're getting better at passing off games and stuff, and they've seen more film of us and they've got more experience playing against us now. This is the third year in this defense, so they kind of know that they're going to get a lot of movement up front. So that was a frustration, and kind of the last thing is there's some easy fundamental things that we make mistakes on that it's just we are too deep in the season to be making these mistakes. And I'll just point one out that happened a couple of times in the football game, and I know everyone remembers it. We're playing cover 3, and Quentin Johnston catches the ball on about a 10 or 12 yard stop route out on the outside with no one anywhere near him, right? And we're thinking, how in the world can we not have someone covering their best wide receiver and being that far off and letting him just catch the ball and then get upfield? And it's really simple. When you play cover 3 and there's 2 receivers to a side, you have a seam to flat player on the number 2. Let's say the ball is in here. So this is number 1. This is number 2 receiver. Ball's in here. Seam to flat player. When 2 go vertical, you have to carry the seam, right? If they stay vertical, you have to continue to carry the seam. The corner out here is going to get in between those and midpoint it as they go vertical down the field. All right. As you carry the seam, you have to see through 2 receiver to number 1. As you're carrying the seam, if the number 1 receiver stops, this guy continues vertical. You have to release him to the corner that's, remember, midpointing. You have to release him, see through, and drive the outside guy that's now in the flat because you are a seam to flat player. And as soon as there is a threat in the flat, you have to release your seam and get out there on that guy. We're totally oblivious. 2 goes vertical, we're turning and running. We have no vision on number 1. So here we are, we've got a corner who's mid-pointing, covering both guys. We have 2 guys covering the number 2 receiver, and the 6'4", 200-pounder standing out there wide open on the flat at 8 to 10 yards. That is basic day 1 cover 3 football. And we've messed that up. And the inside player in number 2 is usually either your nickel or your safety. And we've got experienced guys playing those positions that have played a ton of football, and we're not covering that. Like, there's no way that's day 1 camp install of cover 3, one of the most basic coverages you'll ever run. And we're not getting that. That's a frustration for me. I don't know how that happens.
We have had several requests now for both of us to acquire whiteboards and start drawing things so that people can see them. The people that watch the podcast on YouTube. But I think what you just did with the fingers there, that was basically like drawing it on a whiteboard. That was good, man. Well done.
Thank you. I did that on the fly. That's the only way I could think of doing it right then. So a whiteboard would be a little bit better, but I don't know. I don't understand how that stuff is still happening. Like I said, that is day 1, as basic as it gets.
Okay, I'm going to ask you this, and I'm not sure if in fact, I know it's not going to make you feel any better. Right. Does it change your thinking at all about the way the defense played, knowing that Max Duggan played with a broken bone in his foot?
It didn't look like it. That's crazy.
I'm told it's non-weight bearing, but still a broken bone in the foot nonetheless for TCU's quarterback in that game.
He still played his butt off. There was no thought ever at any point in that game of sliding or stepping out of bounds or not pulling it down to run. He is a tough kid. He is, man.
I don't think that's going to make the fans feel any better.
It does not make me feel any better.
Okay. I was just
It also doesn't make me feel any better that probably their best all-around offensive player wasn't out there.
Oh yeah. Their best all-around offensive player definitely wasn't out there. Zach Evans is legit. I'm not going to say OU would have lost if Zach Evans would have played, but it would have been a closer football game with the way that Oklahoma's defense is currently tackling.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, they would have scored somewhere between 40 and 50, if I had to guess.
Yeah. And Miller played great and looked like an absolute stud, and he's their clear number 2. I mean, I don't want to take anything away from him, but he's still several steps down from Zach Evans.
Yeah. So we're making everyone feel better. This is great. This is why we started with the positive stuff.
Right.
And since you didn't mention any linebackers, I'm going to go ahead and say that it was kind of a poor Deshaun White. Smell the end zone, son. Come on. What are we doing? Reaching the ball out.
Yeah. Hey, man.
He's trying to make a play.
He is, and that's tough. And, offensive guys are drilled on that, right? Because it comes up a lot with guys trying to get into the end zone. Defensive guys are not drilled on that. And, that's something a defensive guy isn't thinking about. The one time a season he has an opportunity to get into the end zone, he's trying to do it. I don't fault him for that. It's a tough rule with a very expensive penalty, but I credit him for trying to get into the end zone. Linebacker wise, I thought at times we played well and we were physical and we flew to the football, but at other times we were totally out of position and lost leverage on the ball and helped plays that should have been a limited or no gain turn into an explosive play.
So once again, just positive all around. Okay, got it. All right. Hey, I remembered to do call your shot this week, so that's good. So
Yeah.
that's good. Jason Porter, and we kind of hit on this. He says number 13 has an energy about him that elevates his teammates. He's a gamer. The rest of the season is going to be fun if he keeps it rolling. We spent a lot of time talking about Caleb Williams, but going back to the discussion, which wasn't much of a discussion last episode about who would start this football game. There's just no doubt, man. He elevates the level of this team. And all of a sudden you're hearing people talk about OU being a legit college football playoff contender. Now, those same people like 2 weeks ago were mocking Oklahoma and be like, oh, it's only a matter of time. Yeah. It was you. It was a little bit of me too. But
well, I mean, it's what it looked like, right? I mean,
yeah.
That's how different he's made us so far in just 1.5 games.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Okay, and this other one comes from C-Mac at Whiskey Tango 444 on Twitter. He says, why are we scared to return kicks? It's been that way for several games. Why not take a chance for special teams to make a play? Teddy, this is one of your biggest pet peeves. I'll let you answer.
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know why we don't. I guess the appeal of getting the ball on the 25-yard line is enough to say, let's not return it. I don't know if it gives them the opportunity to not have to dedicate as much time to it in practice and just say, we're going to fair catch everything and take it on the 25. It's easy. It's so much easier to not have to spend time on it. I don't know the answer as to why, but my big argument is we have by far the best roster of anyone that we play in this conference. Special teams should be a huge edge for us. We should force teams to have to tackle our guys and beat our guys' blocks up front, put the pressure on them. The difference you get by scoring a miscellaneous touchdown in a football game is massive. You almost never lose a football game if you score a defensive or special teams touchdown. Almost never. That's how big of a game changer they are. And by not returning it, we totally take the pressure off of the other football team. And I don't know. I don't know why we kick it out of the end zone. I think we should do the exact opposite on kickoff. I think we should put it on the 1, kick it high in a corner, and make them make the decision to fair catch it instead of blasting it through the end zone to where they don't have a chance. Now, one of the problems is it's something that you get better at the more you do it. And unfortunately, we're deep into a season. We haven't done it a whole heck of a lot. It's hard to all of a sudden turn it into a weapon because you can't really cover live kicks in practice. Teams don't do that very often. So it's one of those things. We saw how big it was against Texas, tackling them inside the 20 a couple of times, and then obviously the strip. So I don't know. It's a frustration of mine. I don't know why we do it the way we do. But that appears like that's how it's going to be.
One of my favorite parts of the radio broadcast is when they fair catch it and Toby just he pauses, just hoping you'll say something. And now you just don't say anything at all. And it's amazing.
Well, sometimes you'll have a line drive and a guy will catch a line drive on the 7-yard line, fair catch it. And the cover team isn't even to the 40-yard line yet. And I'm just it's painful to watch.
I can't see your face, but I don't need to see it because I know exactly what it looks like in that moment. All right, let's get to the National College Football Roundup. But first, do you own a business? If you do, you need Insurica in your life. Insurica is one of the country's largest insurance brokers with 30 offices throughout Oklahoma, Texas, and the Southwest. Insurica is able to customize programs by accessing the latest information from many insurance carriers. They compare and contrast coverage offerings and pricing in order to design a cost-effective, comprehensive program to meet your business's specific needs. Insurica's clients become best-in-class businesses by working with Insurica's team of advisors to manage risk. Purchasing insurance is only one way to protect your business. Best-in-class businesses win by avoiding a loss in the first place. If your business partners with Insurica, you'll save huge amounts of money and take back control of your total cost of risk. I'm an Insurica client, and you should be too. If your business wants to be best in class, connect with Insurica at insurica.com. That's INSURICA.com.
Oh, I'm up.
You're up.
Guys, it's still hot outside.
Kinda.
Guys, it's getting cool outside, so you know what that means. It's hard seltzer season. And there's only one hard seltzer that we drink on this podcast, and that is Sonic Hard Seltzer from Coop Ale Works. It's perfect for any occasion. We drink it by the pool, at the lake, and at the tailgate. You can buy 12 packs of the iconic Sonic drive-in flavors like cherry limeade and ocean water, or you can grab a citrus variety pack or a tropical variety pack. Find it at your local grocery, convenience, and liquor stores.
So we'll change pool to hot tub.
Yeah, there we
hot
go.
Tub.
Nice.
And then we'll change the wording. Remember, that's your ad read now. You can make it what you want.
Yes.
Okay, Oklahoma State goes to Austin and beats Texas 32-24. And there's no doubt we can roast Texas for falling apart in the fourth quarter again, but you got to give Oklahoma State credit, man. The formula continues to work. Just a reminder, the Oklahoma State formula: run the rock with Jaylen Warren and play great defense. And man, when this team needs a play, that Oklahoma State defense makes it. I mean, they time and time again this season. I mean, Spencer Sanders throws the pick in that game. They're down 17-3. Looks like Texas is about to blow the thing open. And what happens? Jason Taylor makes a great read, great pattern recognition, breaks on the ball from depth. 85 yards later, pick six. And they were back in the football game. And it swung the momentum of the football game. And they contained Bijan Robinson similarly to the way that OU did. He scored 3 touchdowns, but it still felt like they kept him in check. I know that's weird because he scored 3 touchdowns. But all of a sudden, you look at the end of the game, OSU, they held Texas to 317 yards of offense. And you look at Texas's final 6 drives of the game: punt, 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 turnover on downs, interception. They ran 17 plays in those drives, 14 total yards of offense for Texas in their final 6 drives against that Pokes defense. Now, you can call it poor execution from Texas's offense, but Oklahoma State's defense forced that poor execution, man. I mean, I continue to be impressed with how physical they're playing along the defensive line. And while OSU's defense was shutting Texas down in the fourth quarter, Oklahoma State's offense came to life a bit. In that second half, Jaylen Warren started ripping off some long runs. That offensive line started opening up some more holes. Spencer Sanders even made some nice throws, used his legs, had the touchdown running. They wore him down, man. They went on the road and wore Texas down in their own house. Tanner Brown, shout out to the kicker, making all the kicks. Those were key. Now, some of Mike Gundy's decision-making, I was watching that game. It was driving me insane. I don't know how you Oklahoma State fans do this every week, but that's a hell of a win, Ted. It's a hell of a win for the Oklahoma State Cowboys.
Yeah. And they probably would have won the game even larger if they just listened to your formula from the beginning and don't throw the football with Spencer Sanders. He is, and it almost happened in this game, but they were able to overcome it. But he is a turnover waiting to happen at every single moment. What is it like over the last 2 years? 30-some turnovers, more than any player in college football, something crazy like that. It just, a lot of times, just kills their momentum. If he wasn't if he was just like a little bit better and didn't turn the ball over as much as he did, this Oklahoma State would be a dangerous football team. Dangerous. But those turnovers and some of his poor decision making and poor throws hold them back quite a bit. But that is a great win. I think Texas, after playing the Oklahoma game, whenever Oklahoma State started to get some stops and make their way back into the game, I think they tightened up. And Casey Thompson looked really good early and slowly fell apart as that game rolled on.
Yeah. And I wonder how much of, the hand injury affected Casey Thompson, but it's not an excuse, right? It's not an excuse. So that's a big time win for Mike Gundy. Mike Gundy's had a lot of success going to Austin over the years. I will defend Spencer Sanders just a little bit. Now, the interception was so bad, and he did the surrender cobra, and I was like, oh my God, the game's over. I mean, it's over. But Tay Martin could have helped him out a little bit early in the game, put some good balls on their star wide receiver, who I think is, I mean, he's shown that he can be a big time player. We'll see what kind of production he has the rest of the way, but he's impressive at times, but had a few drops, but still, yeah, stick to the formula, Mike. Run it with Jaylen Warren. Keep playing great defense. I mean, that's it. That's how Oklahoma State's going to continue to win games. And I'm not scared for Oklahoma State fans. Scared's not the right word, but it just feels like the inevitable letdown is coming at some point. And I don't know if it would be so awesome if Bedlam was 2 undefeated teams. Like, sign me up for that. I'm all for it. I just don't know if it's going to happen. Like, I would not be shocked if Oklahoma State went to Ames this weekend and lost by 2 touchdowns. Wouldn't surprise me at all. But Oklahoma State's a 6-0 football team. Undefeated.
Yeah.
Ranked number 8 in the country.
They're ranked number 8 right now. If they were undefeated whenever we play the last game of the season, you might be talking about number 3 versus number 5, something like that. 2 versus 4, like, depending on how everything, because a lot of those Big Ten teams are about to start playing each other and they're going to start falling out. That's going to happen. So you'd have, for the first time, maybe close to a top 5 matchup, but in state. That would be wild.
Don't mess it up, Oklahoma State. Also, don't mess it up, Oklahoma. But we're all looking at you, Oklahoma State. Don't mess it up. God, there's so much season to be played, though. Yeah. Man. But exciting times in Stillwater. Okay, next game, Kentucky goes to Athens, Georgia, and doesn't get completely destroyed. I'd say thoroughly dismantled, but not just utter destruction for the Wildcats. Georgia 30, Kentucky 13. Kentucky, their petty asses, they scored on the last play of the game, basically the last play of the game, and covered when they did it. So shout out to Mark Stoops for knowing the spread there. But Ted, some people, with the way some people are acting, you may think the sky is falling in Athens, Georgia, because Georgia's defense allowed a team to score 2 touchdowns in a game. So that's just, I mean, shocking.
I agree with them. Hey, if you're going to set a standard, you need to live up to it. Okay.
You see how pissed they were after they scored that touchdown? First of all, Kentucky calls timeout to make sure that they can get another play. They score the touchdown. The Georgia's so pissed. They run over like the entire offensive line for Kentucky and they block the PAT. It was amazing. It was amazing. So they were furious. And I saw some of the quotes from the Georgia guys on the defensive line after the game. Like, they were not happy. You're right. You talk about a standard. It is alive and well on the defensive side of the ball there for the Dogs.
I didn't see those quotes. They were mad. Who were they mad at? Themselves?
They were mad at themselves.
Yeah.
For allowing them to score. They're like, that's like, we don't let people in our end zone. That's what one guy said. I was like, oh, what a quote. Yes. So that's just, I mean, you compare what Georgia's doing defensively, and then you think about the struggles Oklahoma's going, and you're like, man, it feels like there is just the Grand Canyon in between those two defenses right now. And it wasn't supposed to be that way. But that all being said, it was 14-7 at the half of this game.
Yeah.
Right. So I do want to give Kentucky some credit, but
It's
it
a good
never felt
football
like
team.
they were going to win the game. It really didn't, even though they rocked some sick chrome helmets. Those things,
Yeah.
I felt like I could see myself just watching them on TV in them, but they couldn't run the rock, man. 51 yards rushing. Chris Rodriguez, we talked about, he coming into this game, leading rusher in the SEC. Ted, 7 yards rushing for Chris Rodriguez.
Brutal.
7.
Well, that's how good Georgia is. But here's the thing. The difference in those two rosters is substantial. And what Kirby Smart gets out of his roster is amazing. But I think what Mark Stoops gets out of his roster is almost equally as impressive.
No, I'm with you. He's a hell of a football coach. And remember, good teams win, great teams cover. And the Cats covered, baby. But Will Levis, he did some good things, a quarterback for Kentucky, throwing around, but just, with their inability to run it, it just wasn't a winning formula. It's not the way that Kentucky wants to play offensively. And meanwhile, you look at what Georgia did offensively, ran it efficiently again. Now, they only had 3 members of their running back law firm, Ted. Only 3 guys. McIntosh was out. He wasn't there. But White and Cook and Milton were all available, and they were all effective. Stetson was solid again. I mean, he was really good in play action, did some things with his legs again. He may have found a new favorite target in Brock Bowers, the tight end, who I guess is he a freshman? That's impressive if he is, but I can't imagine them going back to JT Daniels after the way that Stetson Bennett has played.
And what is it JT's shoulder? Is that what's going on?
It's his lat.
Lat?
A lat strain.
Yeah, Stetson, he's been just kind of know your role, right? Be smart with the ball. Take some shots whenever you get an opportunity, but the biggest goal playing offense at Georgia right now is do not put your defense at a disadvantage out there. You take what they give you. You lean on the running game. When you got an open guy, you hit him. Every now and then you hit a play action, take a shot down the field, but do not do anything stupid with that football. And I feel like he's kind of settled into that role. A year ago, got a little wild at times trying to do some stuff, but I think he knows what they expect out of the quarterback spot right now. And is it good enough to win a national championship? I don't know. That's the big question.
It depends on how good Caleb Williams can get in a couple months, right?
I agree.
But okay, so this last game, we previewed it because we thought the coach's job was on the line. Turns out that whole thing had already been settled, right? Okay, so Florida goes to Baton Rouge and loses. The Tigers play hard. They look good. They win 49-42. Now, Ted, I thought we were going to come on here and make fun of Dan Mullen, even though I thought he made a smart decision going to Anthony Richardson. It's clear that Richardson's the more talented of the 2 guys between him and Emory Jones. He did some really good things. That dude is a physical freak. And yeah, he had a couple bad plays. Can't throw the ball to the other team, especially in key situations. And he did that. So, but for whatever reason, like Dan Mullen won't say anything good about him. It's very bizarre. I think it's well established how we feel about Dan Mullen on this podcast. But hell, I even thought that maybe we'd come on here and talk about Ty Davis Price, but he sets the LSU single game rushing record in this game. They just run it all over Florida's ass. just bulldoze them. They're
I
playing.
was watching that game and I was kind of in and out of the room and I kept looking up and thinking, is that a replay or is that live? Oh, that's live. Wow.
That's because they kept running the same play.
I know.
They were gashing them. And I don't know if you saw this, but Herb Street on game day, he was like, hey, the new thing at LSU is they don't play hard. They don't care. That's LSU now. I don't know if they heard that and they came out and played the way they did because of that. I don't know. But I figured the way that they played and the fact that they won the game, that it was a decent sign for Ed Orgeron's future, right? Even if it was only extended it a couple weeks. Turns out they had already come to a separation agreement before this game was even played.
Fascinating.
It's so weird. So if you haven't heard, Coach O and LSU have made an agreement that he will complete this season, but he won't be back for 2022. Now, once this was announced, some things started leaking out. Sounds like our man Coach O was acting a bit of a fool off the field, and maybe that bled onto the practice field. There was one person that was like, yeah, he brings his girlfriends to practice, and sometimes the girlfriend's kids like jump in the drills during practice. I was like, wait, what is that? I don't know if that's actually true. It's out there. Allegedly true. But Ted, what a weird situation. I mean, they just won. They played maybe their best game of the season.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where the administration at LSU, I'm sure, they were probably expecting to be able to come out after this game after a loss to Florida and announce that, right? But you go out there, they win, and you end up announcing it anyway. That's pretty funny, right? Come up with your best win of the season, and you announce that your coach is being let go.
At least they let Ross Dellinger, or made Ross Dellinger hold it until like noon the next day. They didn't just let him fire it off right after the game, which I'm sure he had that in the drafts ready to go if they would have lost that game. But hey, credit to those kids. I will say, I like Max Johnson at quarterback. I like the way he plays. He's efficient.
How about that hook shot touchdown? That was crazy.
Dude, what was that? Like, that game was entertaining as hell.
Just kept going.
It was a fun game, and I was fired up for the kids and kind of fired up for Coach O. And lo and behold, separation agreement. By the way, what a term between a school and a coach. Separation agreement. All right, man, let's finish up with our winners and losers of the weekend. But first, are you unhappy with the surface around your pool? Are you not pleased with your patio? Soft Rock specializes in installing safe rubber surfacing for pools, patios, gym floors, and other outdoor spaces. Soft Rock's rubber safety surfacing provides a long-lasting surface that is impact and slip resistant, fully customizable, and virtually indestructible. Local business owners Heidi and Cody Clark are avid OU fans that are driven to help you with all of your pool and patio surfacing needs. Visit softrock.com/OKC. That's SOFTROC.com/OKC for more information. The Clarks also own the Driveway Company. The Driveway Company has tailored solutions to eliminate all your driveway problems. They can repair cracks, clean and seal your rotting grass-filled joints to prevent water damage, ultimately saving you thousands of dollars in future repairs. Visit thedrivewaycompany.com/OKC for all your driveway repair needs. Learn more about Soft Rock and the Driveway Company by visiting their Facebook and Instagram pages or by calling 405-294-9834. And Ted, don't forget to send your kids to Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School. Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School has a long tradition of educational excellence. With a 12-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio, no student is overlooked. Bishop McGinnis's college prep curriculum offers 22 AP courses. There are numerous clubs and organizations for students to join. And as a proud member of the OSSAA, there are 14 sports offered. If you want to provide the best possible educational and spiritual development for your children, contact Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School or visit bmchs.org. Financial aid is available. I think I'm going to give you one more of the ad reads of the last three. So we've got our friends from Soft Rock and the Driveway Company. We've got the Bishop McGinnis ad read, and then we've got our Balcones ad read. Which one would you like? Do you want one? You don't have to do another one. I'm trying to give the people what they want, Ted.
I like
the Guinness is the shortest one.
Yeah, but I can't take that one from you.
Well, you can.
I'll do how about moving forward? I'll do the soft rock.
Okay. I remember when they came on board, you were pretty excited. You were pretty excited, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I'll do that one moving forward.
All right. That is now your ad read. God, dishing stuff to you. This is the greatest day for me. Okay. As always, Ted, you go first. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
There's only one thing better than having a job where you make a ton of money. Can you guess what that is?
A job where you are making a ton of money not working.
Yeah, that's exactly right. When you make a ton of money and you don't have to do anything, that's why, and I know we just talked about it, but Coach O, he's got to be my winner. What is it? 19 million they settled on, I believe, for the payout. That's a pretty decent little chunk of change. Now he can go have all the girlfriends he wants, do whatever he wants with the girlfriends, live wherever he wants, tan as much as he wants, drink as much Red Bull as he wants to. I don't know that we'll ever see Coach O again. It's perfect. I thought it was a massive mistake by LSU to give him that contract after they won the national championship. You never pay someone for something they've already done like that. You pay them to get there. Okay. And people were not lining up across the country to hire Coach O to come in and coach their football team. Massive mistake. They deserve this, having to pay that massive buyout. But got to tell you, Coach O is going to coach the rest of the season. And who knows, go live on a yacht for the next couple of years.
Okay, let's play a little game. Coach O, his record at LSU was 49-17. And he obviously won the national championship a couple years ago. What do you think Nick Saban's record was at LSU? Remember, Saban won the title. Not to bring it up.
Was he there 4 years? 3 or 4 years?
He was there he was there the same number of years as Orgeron, I believe.
Gosh, I don't know. I think they were really good in 03 and 04, and then I think he went to Miami in 05. I would say his first year they were probably terrible. It's got to be right around. They probably had less wins because of a 15-0 year gives you way up there. I would say he was probably like 42 and what was Coach O's 17?
49-17 for Orgeron.
I'd say he was. Oh gosh, I don't know. Probably a little. Was it worse?
Nick Saban was 48-16.
Wow, one game. Wow, that's crazy.
So, and you look at what Coach O did. He was 13-5 against top 10 teams.
Yeah,
it's not like it. And I know there's a lot of stuff. Right, there's the Title IX situation there at LSU. It seems like his personal life is a bit of a mess, and it seems like that has bled over into his job, which you can't have happen. But he's the most LSU dude ever. He's the perfect guy for that job. They just beat Florida, and it's like, okay, see you, man. It's weird. Am I the only one? This is so weird.
They've got they're in a very difficult spot. And here's the thing is they were okay, but they were treading water with the best teams in the SEC until they brought in Joe Brady, and they kind of had lightning in a bottle with Burrow. And then whenever that was gone, they're kind of right back to treading water. in their conference with compared to the upper echelon teams. So I don't know. It's unrealistic expectations. They better have a really good hire in mind.
So the AD that is at LSU was the guy that hired Jimbo at Texas A&M. And I was reading something earlier. Jimbo doesn't have a buyout at A&M. He is free to leave. I found that very interesting.
Well, he just signed a new contract, right? And isn't that what a lot of people were saying? The reason why he signed a new contract was because of the LSU job was going to be coming open?
We'll see.
I don't know.
It'd be hilarious. I'd be so good. I hope that happens to Texas A&M fans. Yeah, I said it. I swear. So when we do winners and losers of the weekend, I always try to kind of guess who you're going to go with. I thought you were going to go with CeeDee Lamb. I really did. But dang it, that was stupid because then it was against your Patriots. So
right.
I got it now. I was like, because he had the game winner, the whole thing. I was like, oh, he's definitely going with CeeDee Lamb. And I was wrong.
Can you guess my loser?
149 and 2 touchdowns, though.
Whew. Brutal. Really good. Really good.
All right, who do you have as your loser of the weekend?
You got to go with Iowa. How in the world can you play your way to number 2 in the country, play so good defensively, be good enough on the offensive line and the running game, and quarterback smart, making plays, doing what he needs to do to end up getting beat by Purdue, and not just beat, like that was a dominating performance from start to finish. I couldn't move the ball at all. That was wild. I don't know how that happens. I mean, it's one thing to lose to a good team. It's another thing to be totally exposed by a team like Purdue. I did not see that coming at all.
I figured David Bell would have a big impact on the game, but Iowa's defense had been, so solid. They'd forced all those turnovers. It's not like Iowa's defense got ripped apart. Now, I was surprised, Purdue threw it around, right? They threw it around a lot and had success doing it, but pretty simple for me, Ted. Iowa's offense stinks.
Yeah.
It stinks.
Really vanilla.
They got they have an elite center. They've got a good running back. They don't have any speed at wide receiver. None. They have no one that threatens you vertically, but they had been able to overcome all of that because they'd been given short fields constantly by their defense, forcing, 3, 4, sometimes 5 turnovers. It didn't happen. Or how many did they have against Maryland? It was like 7 forced turnovers.
They were already over 20, right?
Yeah. So you look at it, what they had done, and everyone had said, like, hey, this is unsustainable. Like, they won't be able to force that number of turnovers in every single game. Like, it's just not possible. And Spencer Petras is going to have to win a game throwing a football. And that exact scenario played out in this one. And he threw 4 interceptions.
Whew. Even late, they're knocking on the door trying to punch it in and just nothing. Wild. That's wild. Yeah.
It's a shame.
Hated to see it happen.
I hate to see things that help OU. I just hate to see it. All right. If you're a whiskey or bourbon drinker, stop what you're doing. Head to your favorite liquor store and buy some Balcones products. You got to grab some of Balcones Lineage Single Malt Whiskey. It was just voted one of the top 20 whiskeys in the world by Whiskey Advocate, and you'll be shocked by how affordable it is. Also, you got to snag some of Balcones Baby Blue Corn Whiskey. It's made from blue corn. That's the fancy corn, and that's why it has won more than 25 awards. Last but certainly not least, you got to buy some of Balcones Pot Still Bourbon. Its big flavors make it the perfect bourbon to drink year-round. In 2012, Balcones Single Malt won the Best in Glass competition, beating brands like Johnny Walker and Macallan, ever heard of them, and became the first American distillery to win the competition. This stuff is the real deal, people. If you love great whiskey and bourbon at a great price, then Balcones products are the only way to go. The whiskey may be made in Texas, but the owners are from Oklahoma. To find a liquor store that has it, visit balconesdistilling.com. Okay, for my winner of the weekend, I thought about going with the Baltimore Ravens. Just a reminder, Mark Andrews is really damn good at football, people.
Man,
take notice.
Having a year
the
now.
Man is balling. He's playing better than Travis Kelce right now. Yeah, I said it. But they laid the smackdown in Baltimore on the LA Chargers. 34-6. Lamar Jackson, he wasn't perfect, but man, dude, he is so fun to watch. And the Ravens ran it really efficiently. That Baltimore defense got after Justin Herbert's ass. That was impressive, man. I mean, they beat the hell out of the Chargers.
They did. They had everyone rolling. Le'Veon Bell even scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, it was wild. Yeah, they looked really, really good.
But winner of the weekend.
That's a tough one. Coming all the way across the country to play that morning game, man. That's tough going west to east and playing that noon kickoff.
Yeah. No, I feel you, but they got destroyed.
Yes.
Come on. Okay, but winner of the weekend, Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. Ted, we are never afraid to admit when we are wrong. Now, it's rare, right? We're always right for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
We were very wrong about this football game. Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm prepared to make a bunch of excuses for myself.
Okay, let's do that. Let's go through it then.
No, I'm just joking. They look good. They did. And to do so without head coach, play caller, quarterback coach, I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, no Cliff Kingsbury. He tested positive for COVID. So Arizona goes to Cleveland and routs the Browns 37-14. And other than having a few ball security issues, there's weird things happened with the snap. It was a different center in there. They didn't have Rodney Hudson, but Kyler Murray was awesome. I mean, 20 of 30, 229 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Spread it around to Hopkins, Christian Kirk, AJ Green. Guys were all making plays. The Cardinals, they didn't run it a ton, but when they did, James Conner was pretty damn effective. That Cardinals defense got after the Browns. And I know the Browns offensive line is banged up, right? Both tackles out, but they controlled the line of scrimmage. J.J. Watt's back to making plays, apparently. He's found the fountain of youth. They forced 3 turnovers, beat the hell out of Baker. I'm just glad Baker's shoulder's okay. Man, that looked bad. That looked.
I don't think it's okay.
I don't think it's okay. I think whatever drug he was on to finish that game, I will say this: the Cleveland Browns training staff is spectacular. It's the same group of guys that were there when I was there. They're going to take care of Baker. They're not going to let him do anything stupid. But the look on his face when he came out of that injury tent, it was like, ooh, they put something in him, and he's not feeling a thing. So, but they got problems, man. They got big issues, and their biggest issue, it's kind of like OU's defense, man. Browns they're just decimated by energy. I wish they were decimated by energy. Injury is the word I'm looking for there. But Nick Chubb didn't play. Kareem Hunt hurt his calf.
Oh, boy.
Achilles.
There was the dreaded look back.
He looked back like someone kicked him, Ted.
Everyone that tears their Achilles always says it felt like someone hit him from behind. And he got that dreaded look back, man. I don't know.
He looked very sad coming off the field too.
And they put him on a card that kind of tells you something. So, dude, they are. You mentioned it, offense, defense, and they play Thursday, right?
Yes.
Whew.
Short week for a team that is just beat to hell right now.
It's going to be tough, man. Going to be tough. Their defense, watching Myles Garrett and Clowney go, man, it's insane. And they got after Kyler. There for a little bit, they started to make some hay defensively, and you thought maybe they'd climb back in the game, but they just couldn't do anything on offense. Baker had a couple of turnovers. It was it just they didn't have enough guys out there. And gosh, even Odell missed a portion of the game, right? He came out for a little bit,
Yeah,
so
landed on the shoulder too and was able to come back. But yeah, it was not only it didn't go well for the Browns, right? They were already banged up, but they're even more banged up and they just got their ass whooped at home. And hey, this was one of those games where it's like, all right, let's find out how legit Arizona is. Talk about answering the bell, man. They went there and smacked the Browns.
Still undefeated.
6-0 Arizona Cardinals. What?
Wild.
What?
Impressive.
Okay, for my loser of the weekend, thought about going with Iowa, Ted, but you hit
beat
that
you
one.
to it.
You beat me to it. Also thought about going with the New England Patriots. Man, thought they were going to win that game against the Cowboys, Ted, but your boys just couldn't get it done. And they kept showing Mac Jones, Dallas is driving in overtime. It's feeling like they're about to go win the game, right? And they're just cutting to Mac Jones and the look on his face. And I was just like, why are the cameramen doing that to him? That's so mean. But they were getting exactly what they wanted, Ted. Cameramen are undefeated, man.
Brutal. I still say that I like Mac Jones. I think he's going to do some really good things there. At times he does really well. But he's also a rookie and he's going to take his lumps, man. That's just kind of how it goes.
Trayvon Diggs had another interception.
What's that? 8, 7?
I think 6.
It's crazy.
It's ridiculous. I mean, it's absurd. He's up there right now. I mean, there's a ton of season to play, but defensive player of the year, he's got to be in the top 2, 3.
Did you see that sack that Gregory had on Mac Jones?
Ooh. God, dude. That, by the way, that was an awesome game. I was like glued to that game.
It was good. That was like I felt like I was watching a Lawrence Taylor video from like the 80s or early 90s with that sack. That's exactly what almost all of his sacks used to look like.
It was like a car crash that I couldn't stop looking at as they replayed it. For Mac Jones. Oh man. By the way, there's going to be some great screenshots of his face from that game. I haven't looked at it. I haven't searched it yet on Twitter, but I just know he's definitely turned into a GIF for sure. He was just like it was like Manning face, but like more disgusted. It was awesome. But hey, I also thought about going with the Dolphins, who are now 1-5 after losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars in London. How about the Jaguars getting their first win?
Did you see that field goal that I'm telling you, it was outside of the upright the entire way, and then
you just got to draw it in like a drive, man.
Very end. Wow. Unbelievable.
Dude, sometimes the ball, like field goals do some weird stuff. I don't understand it. I don't understand the physics of field goal kicking. I know it's really damn hard, but I don't know. But there's only one choice for loser of the weekend. Tennessee Volunteers fans. What the hell was that? Listen, I get being mad about Ole Miss players faking injuries. I get it. I get being mad about the spot on the 4th and 24 play, right? It was definitely close. If you're a Tennessee fan, you probably want them to give you the first down there, right? I get it. They reviewed it and everything. I understand. But you can't just start throwing shit on the field, people. You can't. There's rules in society, and that's one of them. You can't do it. And I know Tennessee fans, especially the ones that are on Twitter, take a weird pride in being particularly horrible people, but that was ridiculous. Never seen anything like it. There were cheerleaders getting hit with bottles. Someone threw a golf ball at Lane Kiffin. I don't know why you would waste a perfectly good golf ball.
The only funny thing I think I've ever heard Jesse Palmer say was later in the studio show. He said, "Is that a Pro V1? Pick that up and put it in your pocket."
Yeah, absolutely. Was it one of those neon Pro V1s?
Those
balls are awesome. But there were like bottles of mustard. I don't know where they came from. It's like, I I don't know where people are hiding some of this stuff, which
that's a good question.
That's a, I suppose that really doesn't matter. But the hilarious part of all this is they throw this temper tantrum. They embarrass their school, embarrass their team. And then Tennessee got the ball back and had a chance to go win the game. And poor Heupel, man, Hendon Hooker goes down the first play and he had to go to Joe Milton. And you knew it was going to end horribly for Tennessee at that point. They're going down the field. And then Joe Milton's got to come in the game. You're like, oh no, he's going to do something. It's going to be something that we're all going to go, oh my gosh. Yep. That's what Joe Milton does. And on the last play of the game, he just takes off running and runs out of bounds at like the 8-yard line. He doesn't even throw the ball into the end zone.
Right. The play before that, though, should have been caught for a game-winning touchdown.
It was close.
The guy he jumped about this high in the air.
That's true.
Got
Not
no
being too hard on
elevation
Joe
at all.
Milton.
No.
He has quite the reputation for airmailing the football, though.
I was going to say that they should not have thrown stuff on the field, when they did. But if they would have thrown stuff on the field after the quarterback just ran out of bounds to end the football game on 4th down, then that I would have understood that.
Agreed.
That's at that point, it's worth it. Oh, wow.
What was he doing? He knew it was the last play of the game, right? Like, you have to know that.
No. I don't think he did. If
How's that possible?
I don't know. That I can't answer. But if he knows it's the last play,
why did you let him do this, Teddy?
If you know it's the last play of the game, you don't run out of bounds. I guess maybe there was a brief moment where he thought he was going to be able to run for the end zone. That's the only thing I can think of, but I don't know. I can't answer it. Feel bad. It was a good game, though. It was a really entertaining game, and Tennessee had a chance to win that thing. And I know it's frustrating for Heupel for a bunch of different reasons, but I will say, though, man, despite the way that football game ended and how bad the crowd was, I've liked what Heupel's done there so far this year, first year.
I think that I think a lot of Tennessee fans have kind of changed their tune on Hype. Right? Remember, he got hired and people were like, "You serious?" But now I'm wondering how bad the knee is for Hendon Hooker, because if you watch that game, like you see how important he is to what they're doing offensively now, and then you saw Joe Milton do what he did. So Hendon Hooker's got to be healthy, because you're right, man. They got some positive momentum. Despite what the crowd did, like I feel like they're feeling pretty damn good about their team. And I think those guys are probably buying in a little more because they're winning the games. They're playing better football. They're close in these games, right? But I don't know now with the injury to quarterback. That's obviously significant.
Yeah, this season is going to be a struggle, but I'll tell you what, it's going to be awesome when Spencer Rattler transfers there after this season and we play him to start off the schedule in the SEC next year. That is going to be great.
You heard it here, folks. Heard it here. I can't even say it right because it's just ridiculous. You heard it here first, folks. And on that note, we just got to end on that. Episode 156 in the books. We'll have a new podcast that'll drop Thursday morning. OU Kansas preview, the most exciting episode of the year, people. Just a reminder, you can hear Teddy from 2 to 6 on 94.7 The Ref. You can hear me from 3 to 5 on Sirius XM, Big 12 Radio, channel 375. Hope you all have a great week. Until next time, we appreciate you all for listening, and do what you always do, Oklahoma. Take care of each other.